This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on, Kelly Richards with Lunatik Athletiks. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Fitness is my thing. For people who know me, been in that world for the past 20 years, 37 now, started around 17, 18, bodybuilding, hockey, coaching, athletic teams. It's a big part of my life. Everything comes after fitness. If my fitness starts slipping, then you know my life is falling apart, essentially. So that's the foundation to my life is movement, nutrition, sleep. So I love having these conversations because I get to learn more, and I think fitness is just a vital point of our life. So let's talk about it. Kelly, what is Lunatik Athletiks?
So fitness is super important. Not my passion. My passion is actually socks, which is kind of weird, right?
Okay.
Like who says I'm super passionate about socks? Well, I do. I even you could call me crazy sock lady. I'm okay with that. Lunatik Athletiks is a Canadian manufacturer distributor of compression garments and wellness products. So that's why we're so happy to be here, since you're passionate about fitness. Compression garments. So we'll kind of explain that a little bit. So most people are familiar with compression socks or support hose, support stocking, something like that. Kind of like dated terms for the product. Compression garments is where it's at. You can't really watch any sporting event happen without seeing compression in play. NBA head to toe, they've got compression shirts, pants, socks, you name it, they've got it on. And so we really have compression socks. We have a calf length product is what we sell because it's what most people like to wear. We also have compression leggings. Our compression socks come in two different levels of compression. So an over-the-counter basic start off at 15 to 22 millimeters of mercury. So a lighter compression. And then we have more of a medical device, which is our 20 to 30 calf length compression.
Okay. So for the fitness people out there, how does it benefit us? Why are the NBA people dressed head to toe in compression? What edge are they getting?
So the main goal of compression is to increase circulation. It's to redistribute the fluids that tend to get a little stagnant down at the lower limbs. So you'll see people wear compression for a slew of reasons. Someone's traveling. Anytime you're traveling more than 2 hours, you want to wear compression. It'll help prevent things like a deep vein thrombosis, which is a blood clot in the legs. People hear a lot about that when you travel really far. If you're flying from Canada to Europe, you'll want to wear some kind of compression garment to help prevent things like that. It's when you're super stationary and we want to increase the circulation and make it seem like, okay, no, I'm still kind of walking around, going to keep everything nice and healthy. We look at compression in the athletic market as preventative medicine. If you're a runner, that jarring movement of hitting the pavement, it's hard on the muscles, it's hard on the veins. So you want to support the legs, almost like you're bracing the legs to keep yourself active, to keep yourself free of lactic acid buildup, injury, all those kind of things that'll help prevent. Then medically, we're looking at different conditions. So if either one of your parents have things like varicose veins or spider veins, we want to help prevent that. So if you wear the socks, it's like hitting pause on the legs when you have the right garment on, and it'll keep your legs from getting worse in a specific condition. So you're looking at increasing your performance, increasing your healing, preventing further disease of the lower limbs.
Yeah, which is huge. So being 37 now, been through many injuries, but I would argue that my fitness journey is at its height currently from knowledge. That's for sure. When I was in my late teens and 20s, it was just about moving around the weight, going to hit people in the boards, taking shots on net, just the fun stuff. I wasn't methodical about it. I just did. And my body allowed me to until it didn't. Now that I'm aging, right? So it was through necessity that my body's now like, okay, you can't work out twice every day and not sleep and have a great deal of fun on the weekend and expect me to be able to catch up. So start paying more attention to your recovery or I'm going to punish you.
Mm-hmm.
And it did.
Yeah.
So circulation, recovery, putting as much effort into my recovery as I do into my movement is key for me. More about the cognitive function now than the body, although the body works well with that too, but really about stressing my body for cognitive elevation. And I think recovery and circulation is a vital piece in that. So something I don't quite understand, because I've certainly looked into compression a fair bit and used it. What I don't understand too much, and maybe you can enlighten us a bit, is why does squeezing to a certain extent circulation?
Sorry, that's our mascot.
No problem.
Parker. Oh, sorry about that.
It's all good.
Should we just give him a second?
Sure. If you bring him in, will he be nice to you? If you bring him in?
He's just wandering around, but he heard somebody park outside. So, okay, come here, Park. Okay, so why does squeezing the legs? So what it does is the socks are actually mimicking the foot pump system. So they're mimicking what your leg naturally does if your leg's kind of having a hard time doing it or needs assistance in doing it. One sec.
Yep.
Come here a bit. Parker. Come here.
Can we see Parker? We got a lot of dog lovers out there.
He's a big boy.
I was going to say he sounds big. We can't. He's not quite on the camera.
Let's see.
We might as well bring him into the show. Oh, hey, buddy.
Camera shy.
Oh.
Hey, that's enough. That's enough.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no problem.
I mean, all you have to do is walk by. Golden Retriever, yeah.
What a beauty.
Yeah,
so we're talking about compression. Okay. You're saying the heart pump, the foot pump.
The foot pump, yeah. So when you take a step, the calf muscle contracts and the calf muscle contracts and pushes everything back up. So what the socks are doing is they're mimicking that. That's why you would wear them while you're flying, because when you're sitting kind of stationary, nothing's really moving. So everything wants to kind of pool in that lower limb. So we're just trying to push it back up. So tight on the outside. The way I look at compression when I'm talking about it from like an athletic standpoint is it is also like the perfectly wrapped tensor bandage at various strengths. So an over the counter, a 15 to 22 millimeters of mercury compression, it's lighter. That's kind of like when my now teenage kids, when they were, playing basketball or volleyball in school, I would tell them to wear that. Just if you kind of have the tendency, how kids tend to roll an ankle, then you want to have it like it's like a tensor bandage, but it's wrapped perfectly, where I probably wouldn't give a teenager a tensor bandage to wrap because sometimes it's tighter at the bottom, loosens, and then it's tighter at the top, which is contraindicative of the proper therapy, right? So
okay.
Yeah,
so that makes a lot more sense to me. Now, something that I've heard, this is way back, and I just haven't updated myself on information, is that when you have something that's supporting you and you wear it all the time, your body's now adapting to this new support system like a crutch, rather than building its own, strengthening its own tendons, its own ligaments, its own stabilizing muscles. So if I use this compression sock, does my body start saying, okay, we no longer need the strength there because we have this new exogenous or external support? Does it get weaker without it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I would say that's more in line with bracing. So when you're bracing like a joint, let's say a knee brace, if you're making it so that certain muscles aren't being used by using a brace, that I can understand. But what the main goal of your compression garment is to increase circulation. So the only time that's something that you wouldn't do is if you had some kind of condition that we would prefer not to increase your circulation. So we can take a look at that. That's the contraindications for wearing compression. So there's a couple. Anytime there's heart issues, we would worry about, should we increase the circulation, or is that something that would be damaging to the rest of the systems of the body? If you had certain cancers, that's something that you would want to look at and talk to your medical team about. And then one other thing that would be a contraindication of use would be something like diabetic neuropathy, or anytime you cannot feel certain parts of that limb. So let's say I have diabetic neuropathy and I can't feel much from my ankle to the tip of my toes. I wouldn't want to wear the compression because it's a tight fitting sock. So if we go right back to the beginning, compression, tight fitting sock. Can't sugarcoat that. It's a tight fitting sock. When you wear the sock, it should feel like a nice hug on the legs. It shouldn't feel like you're being strangled. That means you've got the wrong fit, but it should feel nice and snug. So if it were to roll over at the ankle or kind of cause like a tourniquet, you'd want to be able to feel that, which you normally would, so that if it was uncomfortable, you could adjust the sock or get a better fit or whatever the situation is. But contraindications, anytime you cannot increase the circulation or when you don't feel the lower limb.
Wonderful.
But
It's
other
great
than that, I
information.
think you're good.
So last question, because I'm just being super selfish here because I want to know.
No, that's okay.
The traveling, totally get, heard that many times, especially with my bodybuilders. We swell on the trip. We hold on to water. We start to get inflamed, especially these 8-hour flights. Some of our guys that come from Europe to Toronto to go to shows, and they're so lean, they're so cut that they need to show all of the details. That flight will make them swell quite a bit. So some of them will talk about walking up and down in the aisles to avoid some of that. But I think what you're talking about would be more effective. So the traveling part of it, get entirely. Now, when I'm in the gym, because we have a lot of gym listeners for sure, and I'm squatting and I'm doing leg exercises, is this going to help? Because I'm already getting quite a bit of circulation. My heart is pumping. Will this even give more of a benefit to recovery?
So if you ask my opinion, I would say yes, because what they help balance against is that tired, achy legs. So if you're really using your legs, having some form of support on the outside of your legs, it is the lower limb, but it helps the whole body, right? So
Right.
increasing the circulation from the furthest point from the heart, but like bringing it back up. Now, I've done a lot of research on this just because I'm curious about it. I want to be able to answer that question, be like, yeah, 100%, this is what you're getting. However, where we get stuck is saying, how do you feel when you wear socks? Now, if you've got someone who says, oh, I do not wear socks, like a lot of hockey players don't wear socks in their skates. Okay, then putting a tight fitting sock on you may not be the thing that you really want.
Right.
But ultimately, if you're thinking about the systems of the body, increasing the circulation, especially if you're using it, to me, it makes sense. If you've got any kind of blips in, like varicose veins or spider veins, then you want to protect those. You want to hit pause, because using your legs, doing the squats and stuff like that could potentially, like if you identify, yes, I have great circulation because I'm using my legs, because I'm squatting, then we want to protect those legs. We want to keep them from getting worse if there's already a condition or if it's hereditary. There's a lot of factors involved with things like that too. So I think it does. A lot of people I talk to say absolutely. And then you've got some people who are just like, no, I don't wear socks. I hate socks, blah, blah, blah. Then,
Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that with us. Preference of the way it feels is one thing, but like you said, systems of the body, that's what people who are looking for that edge. I mean, there's working out, just moving around, and that's great. And then there's optimally moving. How can I get the most out of my 1 hour, 90 minutes, whatever it is? I want that next edge, that next edge, that next edge. So if it's affecting the system in a positive way, then it's something I'm certainly going to check out. And I like that you kind of distinguish those two things. If you don't like wearing socks, maybe not for you. But when we talk about systems of the body, circulation is so unbelievably impactful on recovery. I mean, that's a big reason why people take exogenous hormones. It really affects circulation and healing and opens up those veins for more blood flow. We know the importance of blood flow. So I'm very happy you distinguish those two things. And, for anybody listening that's curious, as I am, I know they're now thinking about wearing compression socks while they squat.
It's like the idea of wearing, like if you're working out and you're getting blisters on your hands, would you wear gloves? You would. It's preventative, right? So we look at socks like preventative medicine. If there's any condition or anything that could go wrong, would you wear something to fix that before it even happens?
Sure.
And I would, rather than needing something like a surgery or something like that. If you told me, hey, let's just change your socks and we could change a whole bunch of things about your life. Like, honestly, I'm a retail person. I have been working retail and management for decades, and no one told me about compression. And when I started it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I could stand for an 8-hour shift, no problems with compression on. It's not always like having good shoes. That's great. Having compression socks, game changer.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
So to pivot a little bit out of business, Kelly, we like to ask our guests on the show, what do they get up to for fun? And I was just saying this in the previous show about 30 minutes ago or an hour ago. Most of our guests on the show would say, our business is so fun. I love our work. Yeah, we all do. And that's great. It's a rare privilege to love our work as much as we do. Most of the guests that come on the show do, which I'm very happy about. But there are things outside of business that are enriching to our lives. So what does Kelly get up to put a smile on her face when not dealing with compression socks?
Well, like compression's always a part of your life. I get that. Just kidding. So as you saw, I have a golden retriever. Like, he's my baby. I love him so much. And I love to go glamping. I won't even dare say that I camp, because anyone who knows me knows I do not. There's definitely a microwave, AC, flush toilet, all that.
Yep.
Love to travel, which my work allows me to do. So usually we'll go, the owner, Kelly Handy, and I tend to go on work excursions all the time, but we usually book extra time so that we enjoy different parts of Canada. We've been to the States, like Las Vegas. We get to go. So you do your work and then you play a little, which is kind of fun. So definitely socks have taken us far. And we kind of have a passion for going to different places in Canada and enjoying our country. So
love it. So a bit of glamping, bit of traveling, time with
golden retriever.
Yeah. What was his name? Parker. Yeah, he's a beauty.
We also, both of us have children. So I don't, like, for anyone who says, oh yes, Kelly forgets that she has kids because she has a golden retriever. I do. I have 2 beautiful girls. Love them. Kelly has 3 children, 2 beautiful girls and a little boy. So, I mean, first off, we're moms, and then we're sock people. We're spouses and all that fun stuff.
But first, you were a dog mom before all the rest of those, Kelly. So what does that say?
I know. I do love my dog.
You already met my baby, and then 2, 3, 4 down the list. Oh, I also have children.
Yeah, I do.
No, that's great. Okay, so we like to talk about a couple of things on here. Some fundamental questions. They all have a purpose, but one of the things we really like to talk about is hardships, trials and tribulations of being a human being. They are difficult. They can be difficult sometimes. Why do we talk about them? Because I believe that growth comes from challenging situations. I don't believe the body was designed to grow for no reason. So when you're really having a great time, you're in that warm bath where everything's perfect, body's like, okay, we're good. Let's just stay the same way. But just like a muscle, You have to put stress on it for it to grow, get stronger. I think the same is true with the brain, the heart, and just life in general, learning our cognitive ability. So I still find that a lot of people find that there's some shame or there's some embarrassment or fear of judgment or ridicule of other people, what they would say about them if they shared, listen, I went through this thing. It sucked. I got my ass kicked. But I think if you look at it in a certain way, you're presented with an opportunity to grow and become more valuable, learn new skills that can help other people. I have found without a shadow of a doubt that the most challenging moments of my life have led to the greatest growth. And the people that I follow in my world, same exact thing. If I didn't go through that, if I didn't have to slay that brutal dragon that took me years to do, I wouldn't be here. I talk about being an addictions peer support and counselor on the weekend at a facility called Cornerstone Recovery in Barrie on Dunlop and in Newmarket. And I wouldn't be a part of that. My life would have never taken me towards that trajectory if I didn't have a dependency in my own life and my family's life and my friends' life. It wasn't so much in my sphere. It would have never led me to going up against it and learning skills to now help other people move through their own challenging situations. So it's not just all about the bright side of life. That's an important side. But I think the darker side of life, which a lot of us want to avoid sometimes, is just as valuable. And we like to talk about it on the show. So are there any trials and tribulations, hardships that Kelly Richards has been through that probably sucked in the moment, probably felt pretty shitty? Hard things don't often feel that good. But when you're looking back on it in hindsight, you would say to yourself, I wouldn't remove this situation from my life because that situation has now led me to enjoy my life as I do now. Anything come to mind?
Well, yes, it's not actually my story, but it is the story of Lunatik Athletics. So if I can share that, I do have permission to share.
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, so it's really Kelly Handy's story. So she's very shy. That's why, I do these kind of things for her and with her. So back in it's the birth story of Lunatic Athletics. So Kelly Handy was a realtor, a mom, and a high school teacher here in the Barrie area. And back in 2011, she was in Austria competing in an Ironman competition because she's a triathlete, which is amazing. She's very good at what she does. She's really successful. I love her to death. She's very disciplined in her in everything that she does, really, from business all the way to training for Ironman competitions. And she's in Austria and she's looking around, and pre-race, you're looking at things like everybody's socializing, and it's the gear. Like, athletic gear is amazing. It's amazingly expensive. It's so, it can be so colorful and coordinating and all this kind of stuff. And the shoes, let alone the gear you wear, but the shoes alone, right? So she's looking around and she just notices some people are wearing compression, but it's all black, white, beige. That's what the industry basically was, black, white, beige. So, fluorescent pink top and bottom ensemble and, coordinating fluorescent shoes, black, white, beige socks. That's kind of interesting, right? So it kind of stuck in her head all the time. And then fast forward September 11th, 2011, she was in Muskoka competing in a half Ironman. She completed, something was nagging at her all day. She kind of didn't want to do it. Just kind of, oh, I have to go. All right, I'm going to go, and all this kind of stuff. She finished the event, and you can take a bus back to where you're parked, or you can drive your bike back. And so she decided, I don't want to take the bus. She just wasn't in the right, we'll say, mood or headspace, right? Something was just nagging at her. So as she's on her way back, she had one of those little cinch backpacks. She threw it over her arm, and she was even annoyed to clasp her helmet, but she did. And she's doing the course in reverse, and she has to go down this hill, and she just kind of goes into autopilot and hunches into her the stance that you would take on your bike. and the backpack slips off, goes into the spoke of her front tire, and she flips really hard, really fast into the pavement in front of her. And she sustained a head injury, and she had a concussion, and she broke her elbow, she messed up her knee, like really bad. This is a very bad accident she had, and it changed the course of her life. So dealing now, she's a mom of 2 at this time. She's a high school teacher, and she's in a bad situation. So she was dealing with post-concussion syndrome, which in itself is huge. And then the other little aches and pains of a broken elbow and stuff like that. Today, she still deals with these issues, like things like tinnitus and that kind of stuff, which if you've suffered from that, it can be debilitating at times. So Kelly had to make a decision to go back to teaching, but just being in that environment, like the worst part of it when her and I talk, the worst part is being in the hallway between classes, that constant noise, and people can't help it. It's a murmur, it's a sound, was overstimulating for her. So she had to resign from teaching, which she worked very hard for. And then when we talk about the little, like, how did you get to this? She's sitting in a dark room, trying to be like the least amount of stimulation going on, trying to be a mom, trying to do all the things they have to do in regular, normal, everyday life. And she took an Oprah quiz. Isn't that how everybody's story turns out? I took an Oprah quiz, and
Yep.
it was how to find your life's passion.
Mm.
And so when she does this quiz, the answers come up fashion and sports. And she thinks back, compression socks. Like it's the one thing that was lacking. Every time she would see people like, I'm so proud to, be a triathlete, and this is my awesome running gear. And I'm wearing, we'll just call them crappy socks, right? Like there's no oomph to the sock. And that's kind of where it all started. And she started, it's the product that we sell is super colorful. It's really like vibrant. It allows you to, project your personality. And no one was doing that. There's patterns. You could do an argyle. My favorite is the lumberjack plaid, when we come up with sock ideas, some of the socks that I came up with, like my dad was a miner. I'm from Northern Ontario. So he wore work socks. It was a gray sock with a red stripe at the top. Now it's like the Roots sock or the sock monkey. Like this is my everyday sock, like that I saw every day of my life growing up. We can create that into a compression sock, and it sells really well, and I'm really proud. Like there's a lot of things that influence where we come from. So really something super horrible that changed her life. Like I couldn't imagine not being able to sell socks. I'd be so upset, but like it would take a lot for that to happen. And so to think she was a high school teacher and then she just couldn't go back to it. It was physically not possible for her to do. And then she just started working towards her dream. And in that, her and I met in 2015. I was managing a home healthcare store in Northern Ontario, and I took a leap of faith when someone said, I would love for you to come work with us. And we sell compression. And I was pretty passionate about it at the time because I didn't think just changing your socks could do so much. Like, anyone who's worked retail or worked on their feet, if you're standing for 8 hours, you're crying at the end of the day. You're looking for the best shoe in the world. But sometimes, I can tell you from experience, sometimes compression socks is the fix. Like, they support your leg. It helped my lower back. I didn't have restless leg syndrome as much as I had. Like, it was amazing. So I wanted to tell everyone about it. So when I met Kelly, and she was like, we can do this together. We'd love for you to be part of the team, yada, yada. I had to decide, do I want to move 3.5 hours south away from, like, I had a home, I had a career there too. And I took a leap of faith because when I saw the product that she had, I thought of all the clients that I had who would want to buy socks and just said, "Do you have anything other than beige? Do you have
Mhm.
anything other than black?" And at the time, I had never seen that before. And then when I met Kelly and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you've got hot pink, you've got stripes, you've got so many different colors." And it really just clicked that it's preventative medicine. So my clientele was like 60 to 90. If I could get the 20s, the 30, the 40-year-olds to start wearing compression when we can identify that there's something going on, if we help you now, it won't be so bad later. I just got so excited. And so I moved here to Barrie from Sudbury, Ontario, and I've been really happy ever since. Like, there's definitely things in this life, like, let's just not say COVID, but we'll say it. Like, that that was horrible. It was definitely difficult for the business, but we persevered. We have clients that helped us the whole time, and it's a great industry. We're one of the only Canadian manufacturers, which is huge. We're female owned and run. I think we're doing pretty good.
That's pretty
So,
cool too.
unfortunately, it was a terrible thing that happened to Kelly, but the things that she's done since then, like, she's rocking it.
And that's the thing. That's the whole reason. Like, yes, from the surface, it looks like that was a very unfortunate thing to happen from her. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the results and the decision making and then the impact,
Yeah.
was it so unfortunate? I don't know. But I got to tell you, that was a roller coaster of a story. When you first started, like, where's the story going? Is she really going to say that that there wasn't enough colored socks out there and that she made a sock company from that? I'm like, that can't be the hardship.
Right.
Please don't tell me that. But then it went into everything else. And
Yeah.
her injury and her having to pivot and change careers.
Yeah.
And then these seeds planted from before, from her training and seeing all the gear led into this.
Yeah.
It's a very cool thing. And that's why we talk about the hardships, because again, like I said, it seems I would never want somebody to go through a bike injury like that and have to change careers.
Mm-mm.
But it is a testament to the adaptability of our species. Sometimes things that I would never want people to go through, they went through, and they changed their life incredibly and have impacted thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people, depending on who you're talking about. So it
Mhm.
was like, maybe it wasn't so fortunate. Depends on how you look at it. But I really appreciate you sharing that story with us. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point to this question is, look at what you guys have been able to do from such a traumatic moment. It's a pretty
Yeah.
cool thing. And
Yeah.
I love how you guys have paired up. And I knew you were talking about Sudbury. As soon as you said Northern Ontario, I'm like, probably Sudbury, mining, Sudbury, 3.5 hour
Oh,
away. Definitely
yeah.
Sudbury.
Uh, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. So back to business a bit.
Yeah.
Again, I appreciate you sharing that so much about your guys' story and the impact or the origin story of Lunatik Athletiks. It's really cool. What is one thing you wish our listeners knew? Like, if you could distill all of the value, all of the teaching, all the information down to one thing, what would be that thing to tell the audience about Lunatik Athletiks?
So I think that when people look at compression, so just for an idea, out of all the scripts that doctors write that say you need compression socks, in the industry, 10% of those make it to fruition, let's say. So that's not a lot. And we do see quite a few people. So usually you get a prescription for your compression from your doctor because there's an issue, but not a lot of people act on that. So I feel like most people don't, because they just think they're really expensive socks, because they are expensive for sure. So compression socks, when it's medical grade, like a 20 to 30 millimeters of mercury compression, um, you're paying anywhere from like 125, or even like you can find some cheaper ones for like maybe $100, up to even like 175. custom are $250 per sock, but usually a pair is, your average is like 125 to 160, let's say. Those are expensive. And don't get me wrong, I realize that's an expensive product, but it is, in our case, we're ISO certified. This is a tested garment. We're licensed through Health Canada, and it's the same classification as a pacemaker, which I find that kind of puts it into perspective. It's a medical device. So there's a lot more to it than just socks. So if you go to, let's say, Walmart, and you find a pair of socks for $10 and they're compression socks, they're not the same. So what we sell is a graduated, tested compression garment. It's tighter at the ankle. It lessens as it goes up the leg. There's a lot of science behind this. Engineers make these socks. So it's not like, there's a little munchkin in the back knitting them. No, this is a scientific, designed, engineered garment. It takes a lot of time for us to make patterns. We sometimes have patterns, we scrap them because when they are applied to the leg, they don't work. So there's a lot of science behind it. So when you think tight, expensive socks, just think they feel amazing when you get the right person getting them for you. So I believe, go to the professionals, which is where we sell our products. We sell our products to professionals. Get measured. It's usually by a certified compression stocking fitter, someone who has training in identifying what's going on with the leg and how a specific product can help you. And it's funny, like, not all socks are the same. So I think it's a huge misconception that people think they're overpriced and they're not that important. They are expensive, but they have a specific task.
Yeah. And I think it's, I'm not even in that world, but it popped up into my mind right away. And we are a messaging company. So we deal with the audience perception of products and brands all day, every day. I'm right now, I'm wearing $3 socks, right? And the majority of my socks are, $22 for a pair of 4. So you guys have that uphill battle of, you're saying sock, they're saying sock, 4 pairs for 20, 1 pair for 200. Is it that big of a difference? Whereas when we're buying shoes, they're all $100 or more. So it's like, okay, I understand that the baseline is $100 and up. Or you're buying yoga pants, like Lululemon is $175 for yoga pants. You can go to Amazon and get them for $20. So it is, I think, a bit of that perception of the majority of us are used to buying a number of socks for $20 to $50 or so. Mm-hmm. Is this that different? And that's why the messaging is so important for you guys to have your information out there, let people know the difference. It's much more than something that just feels comfortable when you're putting your foot in a shoe. Like the socks I'm wearing right now, they do nothing but provide a little bit of comfort. I just don't like not wearing socks. Right. But that's the end of it. And that's why they're $6. So to me, a medical device, a sport device, a tool that increases performance, blood flow, things like that. I almost wish that you didn't call it a sock in a way, because as soon as I hear sock, I think of what I just said. Whereas this to me is a tool that changes almost on the biological level a little bit. If you're getting blood flow to change, circulation to change, that's the biological level. Now that's a system of the body, very different than me just putting on a bit of a comfy sock. So I'm glad.
Well, there's also one other thing to it, is that the biggest issue is that our product is insurable. So this is something that you can get through your extended healthcare plan. So if you've got healthcare benefits, you should check and see how many pairs of compression sock, even if it's something that you just want to try. If it's something that you want to try and you have tired, achy legs, you go to your doctor, you get a prescription, you go to your chiropractor, your physio. We deal with so many different health practitioners that it's really easy to get them covered through your benefits. You just have to find out from your benefits, who's the prescriber, how many pairs do I get, up to how much per pair. So in my case, I get coverage for 2 pairs a year, which is perfect. that's pretty much what you need. If you get coverage for more, I suggest you do that, because when you open up your sock drawer, there's more than 2 pairs in there. And then those are covered. So I don't pay for 2 pairs of compression a year. I find our product is very durable, so it's something that will withstand more than a year's wear. Because I have more than 2 pairs, you cycle through them, and then when they start losing their compression, usually you can wear 1 pair consecutively for like 6 months. You wear them, wash them, wear them, wash them. That's why it's easier to have more than 1 pair, but they'll last you quite a while. So it'll last 6 months, 1 pair of compression consecutive wear. And then we can't guarantee that your compression will withhold, that longer than that.
Mhm.
Um, but covered by insurance. So I'm just saying, to me, it's like free socks. It's like a wicked coupon, put it through your insurance. I'm not paying for them, and I have awesome socks to wear. Most people have coverage. I've seen 2 pairs a year, all the way up to some of the school boards. They have 10. Like, honestly, get those. You could get every color. There's over 30 different pairs on our website that you can take a look at. Uh, Sort of like free socks. I think that's pretty cool. So,
And it's a testament to the technology. No doctor is writing me a script and going through insurance for the socks that I'm wearing right now.
exactly. And they're not helping you. And hopefully they're not, doing the opposite of
Yeah.
helping. But
Yeah. I'd like to think they aren't, but I'm
yeah.
not a sock expert. So can people contact you guys directly? How do they find out about Lunatic Athletics?
So we have a website. It's lunaticathletiks.com. And so it's a little unique. So we sell to professionals. Like I said, we believe our product should be in the hands of those people who know how to use the product and dispense the product. So you can buy what we call OTC, over the counter compression, which is our 15 to 22 millimeters of mercury. It's kind of like the starting point, I would say, for regular compression. If you do a little bit of traveling, anytime you're traveling over 2 hours, to help reduce lactic acid buildup when you're working out, or, being athletic, that's where you can start. You can purchase right from our website. And then for medical grade, which is prescription dispensed compression, we have a store locator, so we suggest that you see one of our professionals. And we're so happy to team up with certain people in all over Canada, really. Definitely condensed in the GTA Bay Area area, because that's where we are.
Mhm.
Um, but you'll find our product. You'll see us across Canada in the Bioped franchises, Kinetic Connection if you're in Southern Ontario. There's a lot of different, and then like Footprint Wellness, Empower Chiropractic. Like, there's so many different places you can find our product with great people who wear compression most of the time. They are chiropractors, physios, doulas, midwives, you name it, vein clinics. Like, we're just about everywhere. That person has the knowledge of why you should wear it, how to put it on, to dispense it correctly so that you can get reimbursed by your benefits. So for us, it's important that we're not at a gas station, or, in every, grocery store, because the person selling you, let's say the gas station, let's say the nice young man at the gas station is not going to take the time to say, hey, let's consider the contraindications of use for this product. You know what I mean? So we don't sell in places like that, because we want to be a part of your overall care. We
Sure.
want your healthcare practitioners to have the tools to help you in your wellness journey.
No, I think that that's a testament to the company, to your company, to show
Yeah,
that you're about impacting lives over the bottom line, because you could probably put
absolutely.
them everywhere. You probably could put them into Walmart and places like that. I imagine, I mean, take Walmart's name out of the example, but you could put them in
Yeah,
these other retail places, and I imagine they would sell more than they are now, but they're not
yeah,
being sold by a professional. So the person who's buying them, unless they've done their research deeply, um,
yes,
it could not. It could be not the right fit. It could be not the right
That's
situation.
right.
They could have heart situations, conditions. So I'm glad you guys chose that to put this product in a place that can impact people's lives the most.
That's right.
And it seems like things are selling well anyways. So it's a great combination, shows that you care for your potential clientele.
Yeah. So if you have a practitioner that you deal with and you don't see our lovely socks, you just tell them about us so that they can be part of our team as well. That's our whole goal, is Canadians supporting Canadians. So I think it's really important when other parts of the world have taken over, and we're right here. So like if you're in Barrie, you can locally pick up your order. We make that easy. So you're saving on shipping, which is like a dirty word lately. We're all about people saving money and getting the right product, and it's a win-win for us.
Beautiful. I love it. So again, the best way for them to connect is lunaticathletics.ca.
.com.
Lunaticathletics.com.
Lunatic with a K, athletics with a K, just to be a little different because we are.
And then you are the K, and then Kelly is the K.
And
There's a lot of
another
Ks.
K. Yeah, there is.
I love it. Kelly, it was a real pleasure having you on the show, teaching us so much. This was really information dense, which is what we're looking for, because it's a product that has not come on the show before. It's a service that has not come on the show before. And I think it'd have quite an impact on the people who need it, and letting them know that through a doctor, through insurance, this is not just a sock. This is a tool that can affect your life in a profound way. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that information with us, Kelly.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.